Fantasy Fuel is powered by Pole Sports. Get instant fantasy football advice through real-time polls by visiting pollsports.com.
I'm getting a little low on fuel.
What are you doing, Doc?
I need fuel.
Give me fuel, take a fly, send me trace it out of sight.
Now, here are your hosts, John Eddie Jr. and Tom Tuttle.
News from around the National Football League. Yay!
Oh, we haven't used that one in
You
a while.
threw me off on that one for
I'm,
sure.
I'm trying to make everybody confused. There's a lot to talk about in week 3, and it's
Yeah.
not quite over yet. Again, it's Monday night. The game's about to start, so we may pop in and see what's going on between the Bears and the Redskins since we are close to Bear country, and we need a few points out of a few players to make sure that we escape.
I need Trey Burton to do something he's probably not going to do.
Sorry, that's not going to happen. Anyway, let's talk some new people in football. Daniel Jones. We were making fun of him a while ago.
I make fun of him because he looks like Eli Manning, and he's just on the same team. But wow, I mean, you lead your team back and you win like that. That's special. That's something.
Speaking of, Daniel Jones is now obviously 1-0 when trailing by 18 plus points.
Right. Yeah.
Eli Manning is 0-44 in those types of games in his career.
Hey, upgrade.
Upgrade. I mean, he looked really good.
He looked good. I mean, it was over 300 yards, which is amazing. He had 4 touchdowns.
2 rushing touchdowns.
I mean, it's pretty good stats there for your first start.
Yeah.
I'd say that's success.
It's a very good success, and we were hoping he was going to fall in the Dynasty Savages League.
Right,
it's a super flex. It was going to, maybe we didn't have I think we had a second-round pick. I don't remember. But he was getting there, and I was like, oh, maybe we'll take him just to stash him, just another quarterback. And he didn't fall to us, so unfortunately, neither one of us, I don't think, have any shares of Daniel Jones.
I don't have Daniel Jones, but I'm sure there's a couple leagues he might be available
He is
in.
probably available in some normal type leagues. So if you are on the verge of needing a quarterback, if you're not happy with the guys you got.
Maybe you had Drew Brees and you couldn't get Bridgewater or whatever. I don't know.
I mean, Daniel Jones might still be available, and they're still going to be playing from behind. The Giants are still going to be playing from behind.
And that's a good thing for fantasy football because that means he's going to be throwing the ball, trying to get 4 touchdowns every single week.
And we will talk more about why they're going to be behind in a little bit when we get to our injuries, but we're still on news. So let's move along to the Cleveland Browns. Something is wrong with the Cleveland Browns. From top to bottom, it seems like.
Well, I showed you the picture.
Yes.
And they could have won that game. At least tied it.
Oh, easy.
At least tied it because Baker Mayfield sitting there looking around, looking at receivers. There's a wide open hole. All he had to do, he could have walked in, but he didn't. And it's just like, wow, man, are you not looking? He's sitting there right in front of it.
Yeah.
His eyes look like they're fixed on that huge gaping hole that he could have just walked right through and got a touchdown. But yet he still throws it.
That is a play that Aaron Rodgers, Patrick Mahomes, Lamar Jackson, Carson Wentz, all those guys would have snapped at the chance.
Because they know, and they're used to running. I feel like Mayfield doesn't want to run the ball.
Yeah.
It's like I got to get a passing touchdown. That's what makes a quarterback a quarterback. No, getting touchdowns makes
Your
a quarterback.
Team winning makes you a quarterback. And speaking of winning, or maybe the opposite of winning, I believe now Baker Mayfield is 1-6 versus teams above 500, and I now am proclaiming right now Baker Mayfield is the next coming of Kirk Cousins.
That's a stretch.
Nope.
That's a
same
stretch.
player.
Nah, man.
Same player.
I don't see. I can't do that yet. I'm willing to get on there if I see more of Baker. It's only
Tyrod Taylor was RG3, and Kirk Cousins came in for RG3. Now Baker Mayfield comes in for Tyrod Taylor. I'm sorry, Tyrod.
Yeah.
We haven't said that in a while.
It's been a long time. He's probably not going to be relevant anymore in the
no,
NFL.
I don't think he is.
That's interesting. I can't say he's going to be Kirk Cousins like yet. He still has to get. It's his second year in the league. It's going to be difficult.
It is, but when your coaches are idiots too, it doesn't help you. Because
4th and 9.
4th and 9. I think somewhere around 7 minutes left in that game. 4th and 9 from around midfield. They called a draw play. And apparently, since ESPN began video tracking the NFL in 2007, there has never been a draw play called on 4th and 9 or more. And why would you?
There's no reason to. You would have to be 100% certain it would work to do a draw play. If you're not 100% certain it's going to work, you don't do it.
I mean,
you don't do it.
I
on
guess,
4th and 9, 4th and 3, okay, acceptable. 9 yards?
Maybe if it was in that range where your kicker was hurt and it was on like the 30-yard line and you
is your
need to go
quarterback's
for it,
arm hurt?
I'm just saying if you were thinking about punting in that situation, but it's close enough where it might not be the best punt in the world or there's not enough room in there, you could just try a weird play to see if it catches the defense off guard. But I don't think that was the case.
Or at least, make an option there and make it a draw play where Chubb can go forward a little bit. Oh, no, that's not going to work. Pitch it back, do a little flea flicker. Some kind of something like that. He's not going to make it on 4th and 9.
An actual flea flicker.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, of course.
On 4th and 9 there.
Of course.
But all right, let's stick with quarterbacks and Lamar Jackson. He didn't have a bad day.
No, fantasy-wise, it was fine.
It was a fine day. Mm-hmm. It wasn't the billion points that he had scored the first week and the 120 yards rushing he had the second week, which made him a really valuable quarterback. And, again, he's fine. I know there's a lot of people that are going to be like, oh, no, is Lamar Jackson not what I want him to be this year? Well, he's fine. Well, he has now fallen to 8-2 as a starting quarterback.
No.
So
8-2?
8-2.
That's terrible.
Both losses to Patrick Mahomes.
That's acceptable. I think that's okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now, speaking of losses, let's talk about the Raiders. Raiders last 17 drives. Punt, 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 punt.
Are you going to say anything else?
End of half.
Oh, okay.
Interception. Interception.
Oh, now we're going down this road.
Punt.
Oh.
Punt. Punt.
Oh.
Punt.
Oh, man.
Interception.
Ooh.
Touchdown.
Oh, throw something. That's crazy.
Punt.
Wow.
Punt. Downs. Missed field goal.
This is terrible. Gosh. They need to sign Antonio Brown.
Well, no. And we are going to talk about Antonio Brown, and I'm not doing our bump to intro this right now.
No, that's
we've
fine.
got something special for everybody. Some of you may have heard it already, but you're going to listen to it again. And if you don't want to, you can go do something for about 4.5 minutes. But anyway, AB tweeted out, like he does, that he's not going to be playing in the NFL anymore because these owners can do whatever they want and cancel deals and not give me guaranteed money. Somebody needs to hold them accountable. There's $40 million they owe me. Are they going to pay me?
He sounds like a little child.
He is a child. I don't even...
I mean, it just gets worse and worse. I had no idea when we started this week's Antonio Troubles that we were doing it every week.
Every single
it seemed
week.
There was a couple weeks we didn't do it.
Well, we did our rankings and we kind of just glossed over, but yeah.
But man, he's just insane. He's a crazy person.
He is a crazy person.
Unbelievable.
Now, he's been ordered by a Miami judge to appear for a deposition tomorrow, Tuesday morning at 9:30. The deposition, which will be videotaped, is part of a civil lawsuit alleging that he trashed a multi-million-dollar condominium that he was renting in early 2018.
Yeah. I mean, it's great. You know what I'm hoping for? This videotape. I hope he says something really stupid.
Now, I have other stuff because, as you'll see in just a minute, we have audio and video, and I want to put something together more, but he made an appearance on Jimmy Kimmel, and it was some of the just most mind-boggling, dumb conversation that I have ever heard out of a person. I mean, I will have to maybe make another post about it, put a link to some of it in the show notes. But this is not all. We're still not done talking about Antonio Brown.
I will never be.
Last week, apparently, he enrolled in school. He's going back to school.
Oh, back to school. Back to school. To prove to Dad that I'm not a fool. I got my lunch packed up, my boots tied tight. I hope I don't get in a fight. Oh, back to school, back to school, back to school.
That is as perfect as it gets. I mean, come on.
I mean, what is he planning on accomplishing?
I don't know.
Is he
Maybe
going to get a degree? And who's going to hire him as a crazy person?
I can't imagine he can even get a degree. Like, he's just not there in his head. Maybe a few years ago. But something snapped in there, and I don't know what's going on. But maybe he thinks, if I go back to college, I can go play college football.
Does he think that he's going to be eligible to go play, and he's going to have set records?
That would be if that were to happen. If that were something that was possible. In this life, he would destroy.
We would turn into a college football podcast because we wouldn't be able to talk about anything else.
No.
Anyway. Here we go. I know some of you have heard this already, but we're putting it in the show, and I'll probably release it as its own separate thing as well. Mm-hmm. But this is a little something Tom and I worked on Friday night. One night we just made this. And
before you play it, some of the stuff that you'll hear in here are from March.
Yes.
A long time ago that we've said about Antonio Brown.
Yes. A long time ago, since we've been talking about it, we literally went back all the way to March and February, I believe, whenever it was he started talking about wanting to leave the Steelers.
Mm-hmm.
And so most of this audio from us is quite old. But anyway, here is a song.
Number one hit
on the charts. This is called AB Knows He's a Thorn.
And now it's time for Twatch, this week's Antonio Troubles.
He might stay quiet for the whole year just to not make waves. I think he's a smart person.
He knew the cryotherapy just wasn't right, because his feet felt like the weather was a winter storm outside. Then there's something he said and something he did that just didn't turn out right. He didn't try not to hurt you, he didn't try. And that's why I gotta say, A.B. knows he's a thorn. It's like A.B. loves to toot his own horn. Maybe the Cowboys will sign him for long. A.B. knows he's a thorn.
You want to hear your worst case scenario for Antonio Brown?
Yes.
He is going to pull a Randy Moss in Oakland and not play. And then they are going to trade him to the New England Patriots, and he's going to ball out again.
He wants everyone to call him by his alter ego. Mr. Big Chest says if he doesn't get his helmet, he's gonna go. But I wonder if he knew that he'd be signed by the Patriots after he got fined and had a cow. That's why I wanna tell you how I think A.B. knows he's a thorn. It's like A.B. loves to toot his own horn. Maybe the Cowboys will sign him for long. farted in her face now, and you know that Doc complains. I don't know how Antonio Brown feels, but that smell remains.
Those bodybuilders, this I had a lot of fiber, bro.
Antonio, coach is on the line.
Hey, B.
Coach.
Hello.
Yo, what's up, coach?
What the hell's going on, man?
Here is Mr. Big Chest on Ben Roethlisberger. People keep telling me that Ben is a Hall of Famer, but dude is old, rapey, and can't do on the road. Yeah, half the time I'm playing with a Hall of Famer, but the other half I'm playing with a fat Brock Osweiler.
I don't know if he stays up at night, wishing he'd get paid. The second coming of Randy Moss, but even Belichick said he couldn't stay. Will he ever find somebody new for him to figure out just how to screw? Is the only thing he'll seek his fame, or do you think he's just gone insane? I think A.B. knows he's a thorn. It's like A.B. loves to toot his own horn. Maybe the Cowboys will sign him for long. A.B. knows he's a thorn.
Oh, what's a good way to describe a person like this? And I was like, oh, well, there's that old adage, once a cheater, always a cheater. And then I was like, oh, wait, he's on New England. Like, oh, no, I don't know how to get around this.
I mean, that's just... now I understand why it was #1 in the charts. I mean, that's just amazing, amazing material.
I'm not sure which charts you're looking at, but
it's on my computer. It says #1.
No, Network says the writing was on the wall after the YouTube videos. I'm like,
oh, that's insane.
Somebody was doing this for him. They were pushing him to do these kinds of things, and
I wonder if he was getting paid by HBO to make a ruckus. And now he's made too much of a ruckus. Like they got into his head. It's like Heath Ledger. Everybody said he was, so into that role that he just wasn't himself anymore.
Anyways, I hope you enjoyed that. If you did enjoy it, let us know. We are willing to do more of this kind of thing.
Yeah, we'll do it. Yeah.
And it was fun to do. So, I mean, yeah. But since we were talking about the Patriots a little bit in that song, let's start off with a little injury news. Julian Edelman suffered a rib injury, I believe it was, but he seems to be okay.
Yep.
Now, I will also throw in, because there's no AB, oh no, the Patriots aren't that good anymore. No, that's not the case. They're doing just fine.
Yeah.
And another person on that receiving core has, in his last 33 targets with the Patriots, has ended up with 33 receptions and 6 touchdowns. Out of that receiving core, who do you think that is?
Well, let's see, Josh Gordon.
No.
Let's see. Who else is a receiver? I don't want to say his name.
No.
I was trying to figure somebody else. James White.
No.
Sony Michel.
Philip Dorsett.
No. What's funny is this? He was one of the first shuffling the decks that I did.
That is very true.
And I said, this is the year he has to step up. If he doesn't step up, he's done. He's answering the call.
He is definitely answering the call. He's very efficient with his receptions, his target, whatever. And I have to play him in the flag league. And I've been just very happy.
I mean, if you have to play him.
Yeah, have to
if
play
you
him.
have to.
I mean,
go ahead.
And then I'll let everybody know I'm not perfect.
Oh, no.
Because after looking at all my lineups, the flag league is one is like, okay, I have my offensive starters. I can't do, there's nothing else for me to do.
What happens next week when you get bye weeks?
Well, it's going to be difficult. And this week, I was just looking, and I never even thought I forgot to take Deshaun Jackson out of my lineup.
Oh, no.
He's just been a staple every time I've had him. Like, he's in the lineup, unless a big injury, happens, and I try, Well, I completely forgot about this. Well, ends up that was the right decision because the player I would have put in for him, and again, this league has punt return, kick return yards, all that kind of stuff. I would have put in Darren Sproles. Well, he had negative 1.2 points this week in that league, so I made the right decision.
Right. You didn't have anybody else that would have got you more points. Come on.
I'm just saying I know that's who I would have put in.
Oh, okay. I hear what you're saying.
So I made the right decision by forgetting. Just wanted to let everybody know sometimes.
So what you're saying is you're still perfect.
I am still perfect on accident.
He's so perfect. He accidentally does it.
All right, more injury news. We talked earlier about Daniel Jones, and
this is a bad one.
He's going to have some fantasy points because he's going to have to throw the ball a lot. Because one, the Giants' defense is not good. I mean, Jameis Winston just lit him up, and that's not good. And two, Saquon Barkley has suffered a high ankle sprain.
Oh, no.
That could sideline him anywhere from 4 to 8 weeks.
And it sounds like it's going to be closer to 8 weeks.
Well, see, the Giants have a bye in week 11, so they might as well just play it safe. They're not going to win the division this year.
No.
So maybe, get your number 2 overall draft pick
This is
healthy.
your star player.
Yeah.
Other than maybe Daniels at some point. You can never know what could happen with him.
One other star player on that team. Don't you get me started. Evan Ingram.
I was just going to smile at you for
it
dead space for the whole episode.
6 minutes of dead space. I'm not budging. You're not budging. I'm going to have to edit that. No. But yeah, I think this is actually good news for Evan Ingram.
Oh,
even
yeah. Heck
more
yes.
than he already has. And we'll get to Evan Ingram in a little bit when we talk about some performances of the week. But yeah, Saquon Barkley, I am so sorry, guys. Anybody that took him in the top 2 or 3 picks.
Yep. It's unfortunate.
It stinks.
Yeah, and now you're probably thinking, well, what do I do without the guy I picked number 1 overall? Because I'm going to say probably 60% of you picked him number 1 overall.
Yeah, it was probably darn close.
Yeah.
I mean, unless you listen to us and we jammed it into your brain that you should take Christian McCaffrey first, who had another pretty good week.
Pretty good week. I turned on that game right when he got that.
Yeah, I was like, I was like,
oh,
there we go. Christian McCaffrey, he's back. For whatever reason, we need to start a petition online somewhere to ban Thursday night football.
No, I'm telling you, man.
The fantasy aspect sucks. The actual NFL product on the field sucks.
Yep.
Everything about Thursday night football sucks. I mean, you're doing the Thursday night previews, which is cool.
Well, you have to know what you're doing because, listen, if you don't have your Thursday night people playing, a lot of times you lose because you're still going to have people like this next week, Aaron Rodgers. Are you going to start him? Yeah, maybe not.
We have in one league, in a super flex league, we have Aaron Rodgers and Carson Wentz. I hope we don't get the same product in the first couple of Thursday night games.
Normally you'd start Aaron Rodgers. Normally you'd start Carson Wentz. I mean, it's a little different the story maybe this week either way because of defenses and whatnot. But yeah, I mean, it's Thursday night football not been good yet. And there's not been like, wow, that was a good game.
And part of it, I just saw Network mention it, the flags. I mean, even Tom Brady was like, this is ridiculous. I can't watch this crap anymore. Stop with the flags. Or
sad when I agree with Tom Brady.
Have another official on cameras or like, whoa, no, stop right there. That was terrible.
See, that's what I think needs to happen with the replays.
Right.
There needs to be an official that sees all of these challenged penalty PI things, and then he can make this decision of whether or not it is challengeable.
Yeah.
If it's egregious, yes, he should be the one making the call. It should not be the coaches. The coaches should have no say whether or not that should be a penalty or not. It should be somebody upstairs saying, stop play on the field. That needs to be looked at because we're getting all these crazy challenges right now.
Well,
some of them are being overturned, some of them aren't.
Some of them were on the automatic replay of a score. And they're like,
That's fine.
They shouldn't be looking at penalties on a score. They should be looking to see if
Oh,
they got across
okay, I
the
see what
goal
you're
line.
saying. Yeah,
They found in that Packers-Vikings game, they found a pass interference away from the ball and brought it back. And I'm like, no, that's not why you're reviewing this.
And I think the NFL needs to realize that's why they're not reviewing this. They're doing this because of the worst call I've ever seen. You can't just make a knee-jerk reaction to stuff like that and say, hey, all of a sudden, we got to make all pass interference things challengeable. No, you just need to make it look, wow, that was horrible. Absolutely asininely horrible.
Did you see the asininely horrible call in the Eagles game?
I don't think so, because I was at the Brewers game, so I couldn't watch.
Miles Sanders is our kick returner right now while Corey Clemens.
Sure.
He had his helmet twisted around to the back. No call. It's not like he was even in a pile of people.
It was just
literally took his helmet off.
It was a
grabbed the face mask, Facebook. Grabbed the face mask, turned it around to the back.
Wow.
His head was.
So now we're getting into the territory. Well, that looks like it's an egregious call. So that should almost be challenged. Should be at least challengeable. Challengeable, not challenged double.
It was insane. And again, unfortunately, I didn't get to watch that game live, but I watched a lot of the highlights and that particular play, obviously. And it reminded me of the play against the Cowboys last year where there was a fumble and there was a group of Eagles, like 5 Eagles in a group on the ground, no Cowboys in sight. They picked it up, but they said there was no clear recovery. And I'm like,
I remember that. I remember that from last year, and I was just like, what? How can you say no clear recovery? It was extremely evident. There was something else last year that was ridiculous as well. But honestly, I think they just get rid of challenging the pass interference. Just get rid of it, because if we're going to have this kind of ridiculousness, there's no reason to have it. Okay, we're not talking too much about pass interference.
Yeah, but it needs to be talked about.
It does.
There's something going on. Just like the roughing the passer, which there's been some bad ones already this year too. But anyway, more injuries possibly due to bad calls. I don't know. One of them is Jordan Reed still out, and I'm hearing worse and worse stuff. Like, this might be it for Jordan Reed.
And even if it's not technically it, does he really want to do this again? Does he really want to say...
He shouldn't.
No,
after 7 confirmed concussions.
This guy, he has got to have the worst luck. I say injury prone for people, but I just think this is just unfortunate injuries. It's not the same thing over and over. I guess 7 concussions would be. But it's usually, he got a bad arm here, he has a hamstring here, whatever it is. It's just something different every time. But it's just, the guy can't catch a break.
No,
he's hurt
can't.
every year.
He was one of the best tight ends to burst onto the scene.
Well, he was amazing.
We thought, okay, we're going to have Gronk and Jordan Reed. And who are you taking first? Who do you think is going to be worth more? And Jordan Reed decided it for us, unfortunately. I feel bad for the guy, but I do have Vernon Davis in a few leagues. And these are all deeper leagues where I need help. And somebody's been talking to me about trying to trade for Vernon Davis. But
I don't think it's going
to happen.
It's not going to happen.
One more injury to discuss. And I had said something to a coworker earlier in the day before we got the news. It felt weird, especially after Kyle Allen threw 4 touchdown passes and the Panthers looked like a legit offense.
Yes.
Kyle Allen made Curtis Samuel look good.
Yep.
He's still targeting DJ Moore.
Yep.
Greg Olsen had 2 touchdowns.
Unreal.
And Christian McCaffrey still did his thing.
Yep.
So I told a coworker this morning, they're going to find something wrong more with Cam Newton than we know about.
They weren't telling us anything, really. They were just saying, he might be out.
Maybe. Apparently, Cam Newton has been suffering from a Liz Frank injury since week 3 of the preseason. And as of right now, Kyle Allen is their quarterback moving forward with no timetable for Cam Newton to return.
It kind of, it's different, but it reminds me of when Peyton Manning was terrible.
Yes.
And they couldn't win with him. Let's just put Osweiler out there and see what happens. And Osweiler is not the greatest quarterback in the world, but he was better than Peyton Manning that year. And then when Peyton Manning was a little bit more healthy and he felt like he was at least closer to 100%, and it was in the playoff time, I don't want to go into playoffs with Brock Osweiler. I don't care how bad Peyton Manning is.
Yes,
it's going to be Peyton Manning. And that worked out because their defense was amazing.
Yes.
But, yeah, it kind of reminds me of that.
So, and of course, I got Cam Newton from you in a trade before the season started.
That worked out great.
And I wasn't planning on playing him anyway because I thought Jameis would be an okay quarterback.
Yeah.
And he was this week. He was great.
Yeah, he was good,
I completely obliterated my opponents in that league,
Mm-hmm.
Partly because of another guy we'll talk about in a little bit. But now I can't do anything with Cam Newton. If they're not going to put him on the IR, I can't put him down there and make a trade for somebody else because I'll have some cap space left. It's... What do we do with Cam Newton? Obviously, in a standard league, you're just dropping him right now. There's no reason to keep him on your roster. He looks nothing like any of the other years of Cam Newton fantasy-wise. So
not at all.
Stop hoping for Cam Newton this season.
Nope, don't even consider having him on your roster at this point. There's zero reason for you to have him.
I would not be surprised if he is just shut down for the rest of the year.
And if we got a new quarterback that lights it up every week, well, there's no point in even having him. If here's what they should do. Cam Newton comes back and he's healthy. He has one good game. Stop with Cam Newton, trade him, and then continue on without him. Because at this point, you got something. Maybe we have to see more out of him, but you got something that might be decent.
Yeah, and another decent guy. I don't have him on our list right now.
That's fine.
Jacoby Brissett.
Yeah, you know what? He's been playing pretty good.
He has been doing what he needs to do. He's not like Trent Dilfer, where his defense is amazing and he's just kind of trudging through the game.
He's better than Trent Dilfer.
Right.
And that team should be 3-0.
They should be.
They should be 3-0.
And you know what that means? The Brady bunch should be 9-0.
I
know you don't like it, but I had to bring it up. The Brady bunch. Now we're talking about Tom Brady, Jacoby Brissett, and Jimmy Garoppolo.
Yep.
It
shouldn't be the Brady bunch. It should be the Belichick bunch because he's the one who had them all.
Kind of. But yeah, besides that one overtime loss that Indianapolis had where they could have won had Adam Vinatieri just been normal Adam Vinatieri, they would be 9-0 right now, that trio. Jimmy Garoppolo is like 9-2 since taking over as starter.
You know who else should be included into that list?
Who's that?
Matt Castle.
Get out of here.
You can't forget about the one guy.
I can forget about Matt Castle all I want.
That guy. That
he went
guy was
11-5 and didn't make the playoffs.
Well, he was good that year. But.
Yeah. Then he signed with the Chiefs and was one of the worst quarterbacks ever.
Yeah, not good.
All right, that's enough for injuries and Patriot news again.
We don't want any more injuries. It seems like it's been really crazy this year.
It has been.
The quarterbacks, the star quarterbacks, and then you got Sam Darnold being sick. I heard he's actually going to be probably available.
Well, isn't there
week 5.
bye week this week?
Yeah, he doesn't have to play this week, so we're all good there.
So, yeah, he's going to come back against the Eagles.
We're not going to lose.
We're going to let you have some weird win. We've been letting everybody off.
Oh, we play you guys week 5, huh?
Yes.
Nice.
Yeah.
I like that.
Anyway, we got some performances we need to talk about because a couple of guys finally woke up. And the top guy is Mike Evans. He went from being that guy you took in the second round, maybe the third round if you were lucky.
Yeah.
And you were hoping, oh man, that third round value was amazing for Mike Evans. And he gives you 5 points in week 1 and 10 points in week 2. You're like, do I bench him?
No, and I told everybody you have to be patient because it's going to happen.
Exactly. Yep. And if you were patient and I left him in the couple of lineups that I had,
you have to start
and I played against him in a couple of lineups, and those lineups I lost because he scored 45 points this last week.
Unbelievable.
And I think it was mostly in the first half. It was just boom, boom, boom. Like, oh, Mike Evans is back. All right. And now I need to share all my shares of Chris Godwin. No, we don't need to do that yet.
No, he'll still be fine too.
You might be able to buy low on somebody after this performance. You might be able to buy Godwin low.
That's something we got to look into at least.
It's worth a try because they're both going to have their games, and there's going to be many games where they're both good. Just like last season with Andrew Luck, Jack Doyle when he played, and Eric Ebron when they were both on the field, they were both fine. And these guys are going to be just like that. Let's see. Who else do we have? Oh, yeah. Evan Ingram. Mentioned him a little earlier.
Yeah.
This guy is just going insane. I mean, I don't want to toot my own horn like AB does, but this guy has been one of the most consistent tight ends so far this year. Week 2 was a little iffy, but so far, he is the leading point getter in PPR leagues for tight ends.
You've been dead right on him. I mean, and I never really doubted it because I knew he was going to be decent anyway.
Right.
But he's been really good, like beyond good.
He has 30 targets in 3 games. That's exactly. My projections for Evan Ingram were based on 8 targets a game. I said he was going to get 80 catches this year on those 8 targets a game. If he's getting 10 targets a game, that's an extra 32 targets. If he's catching 2/3 of those balls, that's another 20-some catches. That puts him over 100 catches on the year. This is Zach Ertz territory.
Was anybody expecting, except for maybe you, these kind of numbers?
I don't know.
Ingram. No, because you were getting him a lot later than you were getting Kelsey, Ertz, and Kittle.
I apparently talked so highly about Evan Ingram that our friend Joe was like, I got to get him. You got to take him. And we have Kelsey and Ingram in one league.
It's beautiful.
There was nothing else
have to play
in
both
that
of them.
round. We're like, well, we need a flex option. Why don't we just go with Evan Ingram? And I thought about it for a second. I was like, are we really going to try and play 2 tight ends at a time? And he's like, dude, you've been talking him up. I was like, all right. I'm going to stop thinking about it. Yes, okay, Evan Ingram, let's do it. I'm good. Let's go.
And here's the thing. If you have a guy like that and he's your flex, and then one of them gets hurt, and then you still got your tight end.
Right.
And you can find a different flex. It's not too difficult to find a flex option.
Well, and now we have the option of possibly shopping Travis Kelce for a running back.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Our running backs are a little thin.
Yeah, if you got 2, you might as well just have 1 and have a better running back.
Anyway, last thing about Evan Ingram. He told reporters he believes he ran the fastest he's ever run on that 75-yard touchdown, and he looked fast.
Yeah, it was good.
20.84 miles per hour was what he got. I mean, the guys this year that have put up the fastest are like 22 miles an hour, and that's Deshaun Jackson.
Yeah.
And like McCole Hardman.
How? I mean, the adrenaline had to be just
strides
up.
Were insane. I mean, the dude's like 6'6", 6'7", whatever it is. His strides were just ginormous, and he was flying down that field. I'm like, okay, here we go. I mean, he already had like 5-6 catches for 60 yards or whatever it was at that point, and then bam, adds a 75-yard touchdown. I'm like, oh man, just keep it going, buddy. Keep it going.
Yep.
Another performance we have to talk about, and this is a guy that I think if you're going to try and get an extra running back, this guy might not be that hard to get because people are still down on him. Nobody's talking about him.
Yep.
We talked about him preseason.
Yep.
We thought he was going to be great with Lamar Jackson.
Yep.
The running back for Lamar Jackson?
Mark Ingram.
Yeah. Yeah, he had a sub 10-point game in week 2, 9.7. But week 1, 22.7.
Yep, that's great.
And this last week, 35.5. 3 touchdowns, 100 yards rushing, 32 receiving yards on 4 receptions. That's amazing. And before we get into this, I just have to point out, I saw something on Twitter earlier where a guy was like, I'm sorry, everybody. Apparently, the Mark Ingram role in New Orleans needs to have Mark Ingram in it because Latavius Murray has done nothing.
That is kind of the point I was going to make, actually. I was going to we're going to have a problem.
The set's falling apart.
No, the point I was kind of making is that he was great on the Saints. Yes. And here he comes, still great. And now he doesn't have Kamara to take the wind out of his sails. Now he's got all of the wind in his sails, and he can do this every single week. He's going to have a bust of a week once in a while, but weeks like this are more apt to happen than a bust.
Yes.
And it doesn't have to always be like this either. It could be a little bit less, like week 1. We got 20-some points.
Yeah, and that was in a blowout against the Dolphins in which Lamar Jackson threw 5 touchdowns and he still got his points. So what are you going to do? I'm playing Mark Ingram everywhere I've got him.
Yeah, you have to start him, man. No question. Another guy you got to start.
Another guy you got to start?
Because he's insane. And I'm so glad I have him in the Flag League, and that's Keenan Allen.
This guy has been one of those guys where, like, he's consistent. You take him in the second round. He's good. He's going to get you 15 points a week. No more, no less. You're happy. You don't have to worry about him. Well, he is by far right now the highest scoring wide receiver in fantasy PPR. He is 87 points total, and second place is Julio with 73.
Yeah. Yep.
He had 43 points this last week.
Yeah, and it's absolutely amazing that somebody like this, who you just think is a PPR monster, is getting touchdowns and consistently.
Right.
And I just don't think Rivers can honestly trust anybody else.
It's been hard. Mike Williams had a good week too.
I mean, it's fine. People are going to have good weeks, but as far as consistent trust, it's going to be Keenan Allen. He doesn't have Hunter Henry. I know he hasn't had him in the past either because he's had injury issues.
Never had Hunter Henry.
But
sorry.
This guy, Keenan Allen, stepping up, making plays that he's never really made before. He's never been a touchdown ridiculous monster like he is this year, and he's always going to be a PPR guy. And boy, if you want him, you're going to have to pay out the rear end to get this guy at this point. So maybe if you're thinking I'm not doing too well, give him a couple more weeks of good numbers. Get some draft picks if you're not going to make the playoffs.
Right.
Whatever. If it's not a dynasty, you might want to hold on to him. You never know. But the way he's playing, the value right now has skyrocketed for him.
Yes. You're not going to be able to trade for him.
You'd have to give up everything at this point.
And the guys you would have to give up to get him are probably guys that have just underperformed a little so far up to this point, like Juju.
Yeah.
And guys like that, where Juju's going to get his. Yes, Mason Rudolph is there, but I think he'll be fine rest of the season. It won't be what you thought.
No.
Like Ben Roethlisberger force feeds the ball to his number one receiver. It might not be quite that bad, but another wide receiver that has kind of snuck under the radar, and it might be even better. We've talked about every other person on the New York Giants. Let's talk about Sterling Shepard. We have him sitting on our bench in the Dynasty Savage.
Yeah.
I think we're going to have to insert him in the lineup.
Well, we have to be cautious.
Of course.
Because Golden Tate is coming back.
After next week.
I'm just saying he's going to come back. And we need to play cautiously on Shepard because I don't know exactly what to expect out of Golden Tate. And if he takes a little bit of that role, I don't know if we can play Shepard after next week.
Right.
So we have to at least look into when Golden Tate comes back and see what's going to happen there because I think Golden Tate, I have him rostered on our listener league because I'm sitting there waiting for him to come back. And so I have something I can play if I have, bye weeks come in, whatever that is. But I'm not 100% on Shepard at the moment. Give me a couple more weeks and see what Golden Tate's going to do, and then we can talk about it.
He had 9 targets this week.
Yeah, that's great.
He also had 2 rushes for 21 yards.
Yeah, I saw that.
So they're using him.
Well, without Barkley, that might come into play a little bit more.
It might. I mean, I that's 9 touches in the game for 121 total yards and a touchdown and a 2-point conversion. So they're using him.
Oh, yeah.
And I think he's still a guy that you can get fairly low. People didn't play him this week because he was injured week 2, so they're like, not stick him in their lineup. Nope. But yeah, he's there, and he's going to be useful, I believe, from here on out. Let's go. We got another tight end. I picked him up in 2 leagues this week. He was still available, and it took a while. But after Russell Wilson finally figured out how to throw the ball again, he went nuts.
Yep.
And part of that, obviously, was to Tyler Lockett.
That's a given.
He had a career high, Tyler Lockett.
Yes.
In week 2 of 10 catches. And then in week 3, he had 11 catches. His target share is going through the roof right now.
That's gonna be
the
great.
other person, Will Dissly.
Boy, this guy is impressive right now. Like, if you needed tight end help, and you didn't go look at the waiver wire to pick him up because he was probably available,
Yes.
you made a mistake. You made him. If you had O.J. Howard and you said, "Oh, I got O.J. Howard, he'll be fine," you made a mistake by not getting Will Dissly.
And it was weird because he was still on the waiver wire. He didn't get claimed after week 2. He had 22 points in week 2.
Yep.
He still had another 18.2 in week 3. 6 catches.
People unless they're people that are actually paying attention to fantasy football all the time, when people when they see a name that doesn't like, oh, that guy, they're not going to go after him unless they know a lot about this guy. And people like us, we take advantage of that because, we know who Will Dissly is.
Right.
We're gonna grab this guy up and he's gonna be great. But I honestly think that it's just going to be considered more and more and more with Russell Wilson and Dissly. I think it's going to stop. He doesn't really have much else. Metcalf, I'm still waiting on a little bit.
What did he have? Like just the one catch for 54 yards?
It was
this week,
it was. If you played him, you got 6 or 7 points or whatever it was.
Right.
That's fine. But I honestly think that Dissly is basically the wide receiver 2 on this team.
He definitely seems to be who he's targeting for touchdowns because he's got 3 touchdowns in the last 2 weeks, 12 targets total in the last 2 weeks, 6 a game. That's okay. It's not a ton of targets, but he is getting almost every single one of them as a catch.
Right, and it's a 100% starter as a tight end. Like I even consider it as a flex in some cases.
Yeah, I picked him up in a couple leagues where I had like Noah Fant or T.J. Hawkinson. They've looked good.
Yeah.
T.J. Hawkinson seems to get used primarily as a blocker in some games and primarily as a receiver in others. So we're going to have to see kind of where the Lions are going with this. And I believe in week 4, the Lions might be going up against the Chiefs.
Ooh.
And that could be just start everybody in that game.
Yeah.
It's going to be a shootout.
Yeah. Is anyone else shocked that the Lions haven't lost the game yet?
I don't think anybody's talking about it because they don't believe it actually happened.
I mean, they haven't lost the game, but they didn't win all 3 of them either. So
yeah, it's a little weird. Well, just a quick update. Allen Robinson has now won me my league that I needed to give him 5 points in, but Tariq Cohen has not. He now has 2 carries for 1 yard and 1 target, no receptions. So we kind of need a little bit more, although I think the Bears just scored. What was it? Oh, Taylor Gabriel.
You mean it wasn't Trey Burton?
It was not Trey Burton. And the first score was Clinton Dix 37-yard interception return.
Nice.
So the Redskins are not doing what I thought they would. I guess I shouldn't be too surprised.
No.
That's okay.
Never be surprised when it's the Redskins.
All right. We got a couple more people to talk about performance-wise. One of them I had to throw in there because this guy has been insane. I had him on my bench the first 2 weeks. I figured week 1 was a fluke. Whatever.
Yeah, it happens.
And then week 2 is like, okay, I guess maybe he's all right. And my linebackers are a little lacking. So I threw Shaq Barrett in there this week.
And that was beautiful.
He had 4 sacks this week. He is the fastest person in the history of the NFL to get 8 sacks in a season.
Unbelievable.
He's on pace for like 47 sacks or 62 sacks.
That's going to calm down a bit. That's not going to
course.
happen. But that would be amazing if it did. I mean, you pretty much win the league with that.
This is even more than what J.J. Watt was in IDP leagues a couple of years ago.
Mm-hmm.
This is insane. So, yeah, thank you, Shaq Barrett. You have helped my defense out immensely. And now that Ronald Darby's going to be out for a little while, I'm going to need some help there. We have one more good game to talk about before we talk about a couple of stinkers. Alvin Kamara.
It's a great
After
game.
week
Great
2,
game.
Alvin Kamara is back with a vengeance.
Right.
And which makes me really wonder what was going on in week 2. Like, they just threw a whole day to Alvin Kamara in week 3, but you couldn't figure out to try and get him the ball in week 2?
Who knows what they're trying to do week 2, but I think when Breeze got hurt, I think everything kind of went to crap.
Of course.
And so they were just like, well, whatever, we're probably not going to win this game anyway. They tried to win a game, obviously, but it just didn't work out. And I think that it's just It's just they decided to make it different, and we're going to get him involved. We cannot win without Kamara being the guy. And
He
so
has
they
to be
did
the
that.
guy. And, I mean, even Michael Thomas got some points last week. It wasn't normal Michael Thomas, but we can talk about him,
and
too.
If they want to win, they can't do what Drew Brees was doing. Drew Brees is better than Bridgewater. Bridgewater is not even close to Drew Brees. But Bridgewater is good enough to manage a game, and if you are able to get the ball to a playmaker like Kamara, it's going to work, and he's going to get lots of points.
So, yeah, after that slow week 2, whatever happened there, Kamara's fine. Don't get scared. I hope you didn't trade him off after week 2 thinking Teddy Bridgewater's going to make Kamara terrible.
I know somebody who did.
I'm sure you do. I've heard a couple of people talking about, what do I do? I'm like, just hold on. Come on.
He traded Kamara. He got OBJ, and there's another kind of big name wide receiver, but it's probably not going to be worth it.
Yeah. Well, anyway, Michael Thomas from that team, he had 5 for 54 and a touchdown.
Right.
That's 16 points. That's fine, but that's not what you come to expect from Michael Thomas. And unfortunately, it does look like it's not going to be what you're going to expect for a while, because in the first 2 games, Michael Thomas was targeted 13 times and had 10 catches.
Yep.
Week 3, he only had 7 targets. That's not good. I mean, he's going to make the most of his targets.
Yeah. He's a great wide receiver, but I honestly think this Kamara is going to be the game plan.
Yes.
And until that doesn't work, they're probably not going to go too much to the wide receivers, because Bridgewater, I don't know how many times I got to say it, but Bridgewater is not Drew Brees at all.
He's not. He's more of a game manager type.
Yeah.
And he did what he needed to do, and they got ahead of the Seahawks.
Yeah.
And the Seahawks had to play from behind, which they're not used to doing all that much. And Russell Wilson went off. I'm telling you guys, we talked about this during preseason when we were doing our drafts. Russell Wilson is falling in these drafts. He was taken as my second quarterback in multiple leagues because he was still sitting there. And I'm like, well, I don't want to let anybody else have Russell Wilson on the cheap, especially if they really punted quarterback. And they're thinking, oh, my goodness, because... Well, luckily, in a couple of them, I believe I had Andrew Luck as my first quarterback, so I wasn't completely screwed when all that went down. But yeah, I mean, I believe I played Russell Wilson in a couple of DFS lineups this week, so that was good. But yeah, the Seahawks, they're probably going to be fine. The Saints, Alvin Kamara, he's back. He played 87.9% of the snaps.
Right.
Now, he's never played a ton of snaps before.
Yep.
But
always
now,
had Mark Ingram to do that for him.
Right. His previous high was 84.8% during Ingram's suspension last year. So, again, he wasn't on the field. So, yeah, probably not a coincidence that he got 87, 88% after Breeze has gone out. They're just going to rely on Alvin Kamara.
Yep. Murray.
Hopefully he doesn't break.
Murray wasn't Ingram, so they're just thinking, okay, we're done with Murray now. Maybe we should get Adrian Peterson back.
I just want to say the Redskins suck.
Oh, no.
So bad. They had a nice long play to Terry McLaurin, who I have been talking up. He seems to be the number one guy there.
Oh, yeah.
That was called back by an illegal shift, and then Keenum got sacked, and the Bears recovered at like the 8-yard line. So,
okay.
Yeah. This is going to be a bad game.
Come
on, Cohen. I need 5 stinking points out of you. Just get the touchdown here so I don't have to worry about it. That's the expensive league. We don't want to worry about that.
You're going to get 5 points.
I don't know. I'm scared.
No.
All right. We have a couple of stinkers we need to talk about. One of them is our boy, Emmanuel Sanders.
Yeah.
Something must have been going on this week with the Packers. I think they just decided we're not going to let you throw to Emmanuel Sanders.
I mean, why would you? He's been balling out like crazy the first 2 weeks.
Yeah.
So if other teams take that strategy, it could work.
He has 24 targets on the year through 3 games. That's enough for anybody to want to stick him in your lineup. He only had 4 targets this last week.
And
so
they're blanketing him. They got good cornerbacks too.
I
The
am
Packers are
scared
good.
for my Eagles on Thursday night.
Yeah.
Going against these young corners. If Alshon Jeffrey doesn't come back this week, which it looks
need him.
like he might be there.
We're hoping.
Something's not good with the Eagles wide receivers. Anyway, we're talking about Emmanuel Sanders.
Yeah.
And he's going to be fine.
If
His
he
first
would have
2 weeks were amazing.
If he would have done anywhere close to what he would have done in the first 2 weeks, I wouldn't need Trey Burton to go off. And that so far hasn't happened so far in the game because we're live on Monday night.
Right.
So
the other stinker we're talking about is John Ross. And
Yeah,
it
that's
wasn't as bad. I mean, it was a bad game for him. 2 catches, 21 yards, and a lost fumble.
Yeah.
So that's getting you only a couple of points during
Right.
the week. But he did still have 6 targets in the game. He has 26 targets on the year.
Right.
Now, when A.J. Green comes back, I expect this to lessen a little bit because Tyler Boyd's still going to be on the field.
Yeah. Basically when Green comes back, I'd say the first couple weeks of Green being back, you might see a little of John Ross still being fantasy productive.
Right.
And at that point, if he's still productive with A.J. Green, you need to trade John Ross. Get something out of him because A.J. Green's going to take back the role and then John Ross won't be much of anything. Because if people believe that he can still do it with Green on the field, they're going to think, okay, he's still got value. I need somebody. I'll trade you a second-round pick, third-round pick for whatever.
Something.
And you'll have something out of him because I'm going to tell you, once A.J. Green gets back into the groove, John Ross will be just the John Ross of old.
Probably. He'll be fine if you had him in a best ball type format.
Yeah,
He'll still have
exactly.
A
That's
couple
a
of great
perfect
games, and that's about it. Which I have like 5 best balls. 2 of them absolutely horrible. Drafted, people that retired and got hurt. 2 of them I am just annihilating the competition right now. I'm looking at the team. I'm like, wow, did I really believe in these guys this early? Because I did those best balls a long time ago.
Mm-hmm.
So those are going to be fun to keep up with. Well, that's about it for performances. I want to talk about some trends that I'm seeing.
Okay.
There's some really interesting trends going on. The top of which is Dalvin Cook. This guy is leading the way, barely over Christian McCaffrey, but he's given you 26, 28, and 24 points.
Yeah.
Christian McCaffrey's done it in 42, 7, and 27.
Dalvin Cook is winning games for the Vikings.
Yes.
That is their offense. That's what they're going to do. I don't expect to see anything else out of the Vikings offense this year. I think unless Cook starts getting worse and worse and they can't win games that way, then we might not see a lot out of the wide receivers this year in Diggs and in Thielen. I mean, they're still getting touchdowns and stuff like that. Thielen had, one catch? Was it one catch? Or did I see that wrong? I don't remember exactly what it was.
Well, he had a couple of catches, not much, and a touchdown, but he also had a rush for a
That's
touchdown.
what I was looking at, the rushing touchdown.
Yes.
So, he's still going to be productive to the aspect of touchdowns. But Dalvin Cook is the guy for this offense at the moment, and you just cross your fingers and hope he doesn't get hurt again.
Yes. Before we get on to more trends, I have a couple of questions. Actually, good questions here on our live feeds.
Mm-hmm.
Daniel Jones, Russell Wilson, or Kyle Allen on waivers? Who do we grab? I can't believe Russell Wilson's on waivers.
Right. Is it a dynasty?
I don't know. I would doubt it.
Okay. Daniel, there's no way Russell Wilson's not on a dynasty team.
Right.
Okay. So, Jones, Wilson, and Allen.
Yeah. All 3 of them just blew up this week.
Mm-hmm.
Who would you trust going forward?
It's Russell Wilson to me. Because I'll tell you why. Because he's done it before.
He has.
The other 2 haven't. Now, if you're looking for a spot week starter, you go with Russell Wilson. If you're looking for something to give you for the rest of the year, maybe you go with Allen or you go with Daniel Jones.
I think I'm going with,
There's an argument. There's an argument for all
There
three of them.
is. I had my eyes set on Daniel Jones.
Yep.
But without Saquon Barkley, there might be a couple of weeks where he's not as fantasy relevant. But Kyle Allen still has Christian McCaffrey, and for the foreseeable future, he's going to be the starter there, and he looked good.
We don't know how long he's going to be the starter, so that's a little bit of a question mark. If you're thinking about for the rest of the year, that one I don't know if I'm going with Kyle Allen. If you're thinking about for the rest of the year, Daniel Jones could be an option, but like you said, Saquon Barkley, if they're going to key on the entire passing offense, there's no reason to have a Daniel Jones. That's why you just play it safe. You go Russell Wilson.
The safest if you're looking for ceilings and spot starts where you can go up against a good matchup, because there's a couple of teams out there that now that we have 3 weeks of data, I'm going to be collecting some of that and showing you some of the defenses that are good to go up against. One I know offhand is the Arizona Cardinals are just getting torched in the air. So that's going to be a time where you fire up your wide receiver 2s in your flex options. So, we'll get more of that as the data completes after week 3 is done. And the other question was the rest of season outlook for Leonard Fournette.
I would wait, see if he gets a couple good weeks, and then I'd just try to sell him.
He was terrible on Thursday.
Yeah,
if he would not have busted off a 69-yard run to get him to a total of 66 yards, he would have had almost no points.
Yeah, and that's why I'm saying he has no value. Nobody's going to sit there and say, "Oh, I'll give you this for him." Right. You got to hold on to him. If you do that, then maybe he'll have a couple good back-to-back weeks, and at that point, he has some value. Don't trick yourself into thinking that, "Oh, he's back."
Right.
No, he's not back. The Jaguars just aren't going to be the greatest team in the world, and it doesn't look like they're relying upon him to do much of anything because he's just not been
Gardner Minshew has looked amazing.
He's looked really good
without the help of Leonard Fournette.
Yeah, and I just don't think they need him at the moment, and he's just not producing. When they give it to him, he's not doing it.
Right.
He had one, like you said, that one long run. That's it. Yeah. And so, I'd trade him after he gets a couple good weeks, hopefully.
You have to hope that Leonard Fournette in the next week or two goes up against a really bad run defense. I mean, I could probably look it up, but if he has a good game in the next week or two, you have to try and unload him because I do not like his outlook for the rest of the year.
Yeah.
All right. Let's get back to some trends that I've been noticing. Another trend, unfortunately, and it's maybe not as bad of a trend as it looks. Austin Eckler. Right now, he is 3rd overall in points, only like less than a point away from Dalvin Cook and Christian McCaffrey.
Mm-hmm.
But it's been 39, 23, and 15. He's trending in the wrong direction.
That's not a good
still
trend.
think he has value, but you can't stick him in there and trade off what you have on your bench and hope to get 20-plus points
The trend is going down.
Yes.
But where's the floor on this trend? It can't be much lower than 15. He's still the number 1 running back on this team at the moment.
That
it's
was
not
7
Jackson.
catches for 45 yards and 36 rushing yards.
Right. So
he has 20 total targets on the year so far, but this was his lowest rushing output of the year. And he had no touchdowns. So, and he's not been a touchdown guy. I think we talked about him last year is you got to hope he gets his catches or you're not getting points. I mean, he's got 4 touchdowns on the year already. So we'll see.
Yeah.
Let's see. Another trend we're looking at here. Philip Lindsay. I don't know if this is much of a trend, but he scored the exact same amount of points week 1 and 2, just over 10.
Mm-hmm.
You probably weren't happy with that because you were probably playing him as your RB2 or a flex. And you're like, well, what do I do?
It wasn't good enough.
And then he goes against the Packers defense, who I thought were going to be better than they were that week.
Yeah, I think the thing with the Packers defense is they're just so keen on wide receivers, especially when it's one guy that's tearing up the everybody. And it worked. Philip Lindsay, he did great, but the Packers still won. Philip Lindsay, man, he got me. He was he basically put me into the game.
Yeah.
Because I didn't have Emmanuel Sanders. I didn't have him. I had both of them on the same team. So Lindsey took over Sanders' role, and it kind of equaled out that way.
Yep. Another trend that I've seen, probably just coming back down to earth, and it's probably another guy who's just going to be good. And I do have him in one of my best ball lineups. That's why I've been Marquise Brown.
There you go.
30, 16, 6.
Mm-hmm.
You know you're not going to get consistency.
You're never going to get it because let's face it, the best of quarterbacks, Jackson is not.
Right.
So we know that he's fantasy good, but he's just not going to be the best, most accurate, going to get the ball to Brown every single time. It's somebody. Brown is somebody definitely. I mean, you said best ball. That's as good as it gets right there. You have to have him in the best ball because you never know when he's going to get 2 touchdowns for 150 yards or whatever it is.
All right, another trend I like. I don't own him in many leagues. In fact, I think I only own him in one league.
Mm-hmm.
Brandon Cooks.
Yeah.
Week 1, he was terrible.
Yep.
The whole Rams offense was terrible besides Malcolm Brown, and nobody played him week 1. Week 2, Brandon Cooks, 16 points. Okay, all right, I can handle that.
16 is good.
And then week 3, he had 22.
Yep.
Okay, that's where you're expecting Brandon Cooks to be.
Now,
so
that's a trend. That's an actual trend. That's not a Philip Lindsay 10-10-42.
Yes.
That's not a trend. That's a hump. And if that were to stay consistent, that would be amazing. But it won't. It's going to come back down.
Yes. And the weird thing about this trend is the targets, week 1 for Brandon Cooks were 6. Week 2, it was only 4, but he made the best of those 4. And then week 3, he had 12 targets.
Mm-hmm.
So obviously, if he can get targeted in a game, and I mentioned this on Sunday morning, Denzel Ward was out for the Browns. So that was going to open up everything for the passing game. And it did. I mean, the worst player that week was Robert Woods, and he was still okay.
Mm-hmm.
So that's a good trend. It's looking like Terry McLaurin might be on a downward trend if the game continues as it has. And now it looks like I still need about 3.8 points out of Tariq Cohen.
You're gonna get it. Come on.
Who else? Oh, Taylor Gabriel got a second touchdown.
Come on. Where's Trey Burton?
He's got 3 for 20.
Well, I'll take it.
Yeah,
I'll take it. That's way better. That's what I have not been getting much out of my tight ends, so I'll take Trey Burton 3 for 20. And the game's not over yet, so we're still good there.
All right, let's find a tight end trend here that I was looking at earlier because we all know I love my tight ends, and Darren Waller has been.
The guy's amazing.
Absolutely,
he's the offense.
The nuts.
He's the offense. That's it. He is the offense.
Tyrell Williams has actually been kind of trending down.
Mm-hmm.
He was a little hurt this last week, so not too much there. But yeah, Darren Waller, his targets. 29 targets.
That's unbelievable, man.
14 this last week, 13 catches, 134 yards.
Yep.
He hasn't scored a touchdown yet this week, and he is number 3 overall in points for touchdowns.
He is, I mean, if for whatever reason you can get him on your team somehow, I think this is the entire offense of the Oakland Raiders, and there's not going to be much else from anybody. Other guys are going to get some stuff. I just think that Waller is the guy.
Yeah.
And this guy is going to be targeted a ridiculous amount of times every single week, and it won't stop. It's not going to stop.
This might not be a trend per se, but I think maybe if the Chiefs can do it, other teams are going to key on this.
Okay.
Mark Andrews, the first 2 weeks, he had about 25 points, and everybody's like, oh, let's get aboard the Mark Andrews train. Well, he only had 4.5 points in week 3.
Yeah.
So I don't know if the Chiefs did something different or they were having him block more or what was going on, but that's not good. If the Ravens can't get Mark Andrews open, they might be more forcing the ball to the outside, trying to get it to Hollywood Brown, and your other guys are just not that good.
Yeah.
Well, we love Willie Snead, but he's just not that great of a wide receiver. So if that starts happening and Lamar Jackson starts forcing it and starts running more, he might get his fantasy points, but he's going to look closer to what he did last year instead of what we saw him start out this year.
I completely agree. I think Mark Andrews, there's a chance he could be something big. I don't really understand where this offense is going at the moment. I think it's just kind of week 1 was against the Dolphins. Yeah, I mean, what any offense. I mean, I think Luke Falk for the Jets could have beaten that Miami team.
Let's not get crazy. He should have had some stats against the Patriots.
Just so. I mean, like I was telling you earlier, that I didn't realize just how much Sam Darnold it means to the New York Jets. Without him, that team is horrible. Horrible. Really it's so sad. I'm such a sad Jets fan right now. I'm just happy it's only 0-3. We don't have to lose next week, and then hopefully Sam Darnold will come back week 5.
Get your first win against the Eagles.
I would be all. I mean, we could go 1-15 as long as we beat the Eagles. That'd be fine.
There you go. All right, we got a couple of quarterback trends I want to touch on, and that'll be good for the week. Then you can look forward to Tom's Thursday night preview, and I am hoping to get some other stuff out there.
I know you've been busy. It's all right. You got some things you got to work through.
But anyway, Lamar Jackson, we just got done talking about. His trend so far has been 43, 34, 21.
Mm-hmm.
And that's not a great trend. Obviously, he went against the Chiefs.
Yeah.
And their defense isn't supposed to be that great. But they did something to keep him down. It wasn't a horrible week. You were still happy. You didn't get a dud out of him.
Well, I don't think you're going to get a dud out of him because things like that, when the Chiefs can keep him down a little bit, he still runs the ball. And he wasn't like it was week 2 where he ran for 100 and whatever yards it was. But he still has the capability of running the ball. When you have that, you still, I mean, was it 50 yards? I don't remember exactly.
He
how
had
many.
8 carries for 46 yards and touchdowns. So he had no passing touchdowns this week.
Right. Yeah.
It was all Mark Ingram.
Yeah, it really was. But, so 46 yards running the ball, that's already 4.6 points in almost every league.
Yes.
And then you have all the passing yards that he has, you put on top of that. And you have that touchdown. So it's really not that bad. If you didn't get the touchdown, not a good week, probably. Right. But you expect him to get at least one touchdown every week.
Somehow.
And if he gets you one touchdown, that's probably good enough.
And especially if you're in one of those 4-point passing touchdowns, but 6-point rushing touchdown leagues, it makes a heck of a difference. And the other trend I have to touch on, because this person is the number 2 overall fantasy quarterback right now, is Dak Prescott. Week 1 against the Giants, horrible, 41 points.
Mm-hmm.
Week 2 against the Redskins, let's check that score again. Yep, still 21-0. Okay, the Redskins suck. And he got 33 points against the Redskins. Okay, still a good game. And now against the Dolphins, they ran all over him.
Mm-hmm.
26 points.
Mm-hmm.
He was fine. He threw 2 touchdowns, I believe, both to Amari Cooper. Thank you, Joe. So the trend is coming back down to earth. Is he still going to be good?
Yeah. I think he already... No, he still has. I told a guy at work who had Russell Wilson and Dak Prescott. I said I would trade Dak Prescott after week 3.
Yeah.
Because I think he'll be fine. But you're going to get something big out of him. He didn't do that. He ended up trading Russell Wilson. He got something in return for it, so it was all right. But he's still got Dak Prescott, which is fine. But I think that Dak will be heading in that continual trend down, and it will not go back up until he plays another bad team.
Yes, and Tom probably looked at me, and I had
you had a weird face. I don't know what you were doing.
Weird face, and if this were the Sirius XM broadcast on Sundays, this is a sick of this moment.
Yeah.
Taylor Gabriel has now got his 3rd touchdown.
Come on.
So Mr. Trubisky has pulled the rabbit out of his hat, and he does not look like the terrible quarterback that he did the first. He is 20 out of 23 for 173 yards and 3 touchdowns going into the half.
And I'm guessing we didn't start him in the one league we have.
I don't think we have him in any league.
We have them in a league together.
No,
Yes,
don't.
we do.
If we do, it's because it's the league we have Amari Cooper, Brandon Cooks, Calvin Ridley, and somebody else.
I'm going to look it up because I know we have him in one of the leagues. I'm almost positive.
That is just...
Oh, we do have a question on Facebook.
Oh.
Will Golden Tate hurt Evan Ingram's ceiling?
We did touch on that
Yeah,
a little bit.
yeah.
It was more on Sterling Shepard's ceiling. I think Evan Ingram is still going to be exactly what he is right now, but Golden Tate may well hurt Sterling Shepard.
Yeah, I think Shepard's ceiling is not going to be much more than like 15 points per game once Golden Tate comes back in. And it might hurt Ingram's ceiling just a smidge, but I don't think it's going to matter too much. You're still going to play him. You're still going to get your points. It's going to be, I'm going to say 20 points per game. It can't get much worse than that, I don't think, because he's going to be targeted so many times.
Yeah, I mean, we already talked about it. He has like 30 targets or whatever in the 3 games, and that's more than I put him on. So don't worry about Evan Ingram. Let's see. Network on Twitch. He says his number 2 scorer in one of his leagues is Philip Dorsett and Darren Waller tied at 54 points. It's okay. I mean, Waller's fine, but if Dorsett is your number 2 scorer, we've got some issues probably. Winston is his only person on his team with more points. What's going on there, Reggie?
Reggie.
He also has Kelsey, Brandon Cooks, and Julian Edelman. So there's been some issues there, and those guys will bounce back. So, yeah, you might be able to turn that one around. We'll see.
All right, it's not that league. I'm still going to find this.
Oh, okay. All right. Well, I was on a league here. Now that I'm done looking at the trends, I can look at our team makeup. Yeah, I don't see Taylor Gabriel. That must have been the same one.
No. I don't think we have Taylor Gabriel anywhere, do we?
I don't think we do.
I did last year, I'm pretty sure.
You did.
I had him all the way up until he gets a 3-touchdown game, of course.
Of course. And Case Keenum is 6 of 11 for 48 yards and 2 interceptions at this particular point. Who got the other interception? Kyle Fuller, of course. Yeah, I need some points out of Tarico.
You're going to get, at some point, they're going to run the ball. And he will get a couple handoffs. You might get a couple points. All you need is 3, right?
Let's see. He has 2 carries for 1 yard and 1 catch for 2 yards. So I have 1.3 points. I believe I need about 3.6 maybe to tie, 3.7 to win, somewhere in there. Please tell me he's not hurt. That's all I need to know at this particular point.
You'll get at least close.
Yes, we should get at least close. Well, I think we have rambled on and on. I said this last week. I'll say
we could talk forever.
Hours and hours and hours. And maybe one of these days we'll be able to do that on Twitch. If we get some more followers.
Yeah, come on.
We become an affiliate.
If you're watching us or listening to us, go to twitch.tv/Fantasy Fuel. It's super easy.
Super easy. And there's all sorts of stuff on there. I mean, we're talking fantasy football. A lot of us that like fantasy football also like things like video games and stuff like that. And you can watch all these cool people. Like, I don't have the time nor the money to play all these video games, but I can watch Link's Awakening, which I wanted to play, but I'm not going to go down that road quite yet. But at least I can still get the experience.
Just play the old game.
Yes.
And then after you beat that, you can go play the new one.
That sounds like spending money, and I'm not ready to do that yet.
Play the old game while you watch somebody else play the new one.
Oh, that could be.
That's a good one.
That actually would be a cool stream to watch somebody doing the same movements in the old game as the new game and seeing what the differences are.
Right.
It would be kind of cool.
That'd be kind of
I'll have to search and see if that's a thing.
We must have traded Mitch Trubisky to someone because I swear we
did.
I don't remember it now.
You don't remember that stupid trade we did? You said, snap it, do it now. You did.
I don't like it then if it's my fault.
Yeah, because we just traded the player away to get some other crappier players just so we didn't have him on our team anymore. Yes, in a super flex, we had 4 quarterbacks, and Mitch Trubisky was not looking very good. So we decided we'll take the chance and traded him for AB while he was still a member of the Patriots. The trade process, the day he got cut, we also made a trade to get rid of him.
Yep.
And get a couple guys back. We got Kiki QT and James Washington.
Okay,
and,
so we traded Mitch Trubisky
and Taysom Hill. So
okay, we traded Mitch Trubisky for Taysom Hill, QT, and James Washington.
Not
I'm
horrible.
okay with that.
Okay. It's not the end of the world.
It's not a bad decision if you take the risk on Antonio Brown after that Patriots game. You're thinking, okay, there's a chance we could still get some production out of him. It didn't work out. That's okay. We got some stuff back out of him.
Yeah, but we'll see.
That's probably...
It's a dynasty league, so James Washington could end up being okay later on down the line. But all right, again, that is enough.
We're done. We're the episode over.
We've got to get out of here. We'll possibly stay on Twitch and Facebook for a few more minutes. Let's see. We got to tell you to subscribe, and follow, and all that good stuff. We haven't said anything, but there's a big blow trophy in the background, which I think is pretty cool. Go to blowtrophy.com and check out their stuff. It's fun if you don't want to go the serious route for fantasy trophies and all that.
Yeah, you don't
stuff,
get them crazy trophies. I've seen some crazy
you get
ones
etched in your name.
This one, I mean, if you're in a league that the cost to get in is $30, don't go get a crazy trophy. Get a blow trophy. That's way better.
Yeah. So there you go. I guess I will tell you, if you like your audio dramas, I am in a couple of those, The Veiled Monarch and The Veiled West, which is easy to remember now. It's just at theveiledmonarch.com and theveiledwest.com.
Yeah, that's
very
easy.
proud of these. Apparently, The Veiled Monarch is up for a Best New Audio Drama Award
Very
somewhere.
nice.
I
Very
haven't
good.
looked at that, but that's
I like
pretty
that.
cool.
That's cool, man.
So yeah, things are looking up in that industry, and there's some crazy stuff going on in the next few episodes in those if you like your dramas. So I hope you can check those out for us. Again, look forward to Tom's Thursday night preview here coming up shortly. And I guess don't forget to stay fueled up this fantasy season. And I'm sure we'll talk about AB again next week.
Oh, we probably will.
All right. Thanks, guys, for listening. And